If you've experienced a delay in your manifestation, you've likely jumped to the conclusion that you've done something wrong and now you have to scratch and claw to bring it back to where it was before the delay happened. Well, I'm here to tell you that that simply is not the case, because in the worst case scenario, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from learning from what you did first to do better this time. But in the best case scenario, delays are actually a good thing, because delays are your subconscious mind realigning the 3D reality to bring you what you want. And that's what I'll be explaining in today's video. I'll be explaining the good side of delays, the side where you've been doing all the right stuff and you want to just make sure that things continue to chug along in the right direction. So if you feel that this video is for you, be sure to drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you want one-to-one help from me to actually tailor advice to your situation specifically and overcome the guesswork of piecing together general manifestation YouTube content, I do have services and products and such available down below in the comment section and the description. But without further ado, let's dive into this video. So we have here, delays equal good. But for those of you that are doing well, you are simply just flipping thoughts. You know, you might have the odd anxious thought, the odd where is it? But for the most part, you're doing well. You're really focusing on the outcome. You're living your life. You're working on your self-concept. You're doing as much as you can what coaches tell you to do. The delay is likely a good thing. But let's get into it. So one thing that we need to clear up, just for those of you that are unsure, but it's always a good reminder, the reality doesn't create you, which is why it's got this little X. You create your reality. So what many people will do when they sort of have these delays go on is they go, the 3D is showing me one thing, and they allow that sort of dwelling on what the 3D is showing to impress their subconscious mind, which then creates more of it. They get into this sort of cycle here where, let's just say this is the delay up here. The delay has happened at about here. The person has noticed there's the delay or some kind of negative thing, and they're going, oh my God, this is happening. Why is this happening? What did I do wrong? And they're panicking about it. They're worrying about it. They're commenting about it. They're doing all of these things that just keep showing the mind delay, delay, gap, silence, delay, delay, gap, silence. And they keep doing that. And then around about here, that's further impressed upon the subconscious mind. And then here's where it starts to play out some more. And then that's when the person notices it more. And it's this cycle. And what they've done, even though reality is the product of consciousness, they've allowed reality to impress consciousness, or they've allowed their consciousness to be affected by reality, which has impressed their subconscious mind and then recreated it. And then that recreation then affects consciousness, which then re-impresses, and it's this just sort of tornado spiral down, just getting worse and worse and worse until the person notices here that they've impressed and they go, screw that, I'm going a different route, and change consciousness. But this is what many people will do in these states of delay or negatives or whatever it is. Perfectly normal. You know, it's just how our mind works. The human ego uses the 3D reality to keep us physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally safe. Or at least it tries to. We all know that the ego pretty much does the opposite of what we want it to. But it's there for a function, and it's served its function for many, many years. But many of us will allow the 3D reality to affect consciousness and then impress more of it. Now, I'm all for using a 3D reality to recreate itself when it's something good. You know, if your person sends you the most loving text ever, I'm not expecting you to sit there and be like, no, I'm not going to listen to that or read that because I need to stay in consciousness. Hell no, enjoy it. You're going to recreate more of that good by really investing your time and focus on the good. But we need to kind of have a bit of a double standard when it comes to manifestation, where we don't do that for the bad, but we do that for the good. But as I said, what it more accurately is our consciousness creates our reality. So if we take this up here, we've got a little circle. I'm just going to put C for consciousness. So consciousness, what we choose to consciously be aware of, claim to be true, impresses the subconscious mind. I'm just going to put imp for now. Impresses the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind then plays it out for you. You then notice it, that it's there. It recreates and so on. Basically the same pattern as we said here, but just a good thing instead. This is the true reality. This is the true way that it goes. Now, I've explained this, even though I know most of you already know that general concept, because it helps us understand that delays are good. If you have been doing the right work, then you should be expecting the right experiences. Now, if you're not getting the right experiences, or at least not what you would expect to, that doesn't immediately jump to the idea that you did something wrong. Yes, it can be worth having a little look and be like, have I done good up till yesterday, but yesterday I completely fell apart and this could be a result of that? Definitely worth looking into things like that. But if you're generally able to sit here and say, no, I was good. I was definitely in the dominant state, maybe not perfect, but definitely dominant, then remember this model. Consciousness creates your reality, not the other way around. Which means if your reality isn't showing good stuff, but consciousness has been good, then it is likely that what it is showing is only your distinction of not good. But to your subconscious mind, it could be building the most spectacular thing. Take just for example, you see your specific person go on holiday with the third party, but you've been doing well. You will likely consciously say, that's not good. And I get that. I would probably say the same thing if I didn't know all of this stuff. But what's going to happen is they go on holiday and they have a massive argument. Your specific person realizes that they're not the one, and in fact you are. Come back and they hit you up and say, hey, look, I made a mistake. You want to hang out? You want to go on a date or something? To you, that holiday looked like a bad thing. To your subconscious mind, it was playing 4D chess. Now, I will get onto that analogy in a little bit. But another example, you don't get the job you interviewed for and you thought it was great. But you're then like, well, I still need a job. So you stay focused on the end. The day after, another job with more pay, more flexibility, and a better location comes up. If you got that first job, you wouldn't have been continuing to be looking for that second one. And that second one was perfect, which is what you were trying to impress your subconscious mind with. But when you don't get the first job, your conscious mind goes, I'm doing something wrong. Why didn't I get that perfect job? So our conscious distinctions can sometimes get in the way. And we should really remember this model here, that consciousness creates reality. So if consciousness has been good, but reality isn't reflecting, that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, unless you're able to identify that you were, by which means obviously, correct it. But it doesn't mean you've been doing something wrong. It means there's something more going on in the background that your conscious mind isn't made aware of. But you will be if you stay consistent with that end result. Because if we can sort of take note of this, if you notice the delay, but then at this point go, I'm going to trust in consciousness anyway, you've then got the consciousness in the way of the delay between the impression point, which will allow it to go down this path and continue to recreate whatever good thing it is that's happening. Now, this has actually sort of happened to me in a weird way many, many years back now when I was applying for a job in a science institute. I went for the first job, didn't get it, but they said, hey, we've got this other job here, try out. Tried out, didn't get it. And they said, hey, we've got this third job for you, which was in the recruitment team. I'd never really been interested in recruitment, but I needed a job at the time and I was doing the manifestation work. And I thought, this is almost too perfect the way they're just like, oh, hey, here's this. Got recruitment. I was there for about 2 or 3 weeks, I think, if I remember correctly. And then they said, hey, look, we really need someone in the HR department, which was a couple of desks across. Would you be all right to just quickly, do a bit of work there? Ended up getting the full-time role in HR, which was actually the best job I've ever had. I had so much fun in that team. I had earned more than I ever had. It was so much more flexible than anything. It was perfect. But at first glance, being rejected from job over and over and then getting a job that I wasn't too interested in wouldn't have seemed like a good thing. But with consistency in the end result and allowing the subconscious mind to continue putting those pieces together, I ended up landing the best job that I'd ever had, which took me right up to when I quit, or I didn't quit, my contract ended, but quit working and went into this full time, and it's been perfect ever since. By just simply trusting the subconscious mind and trusting that those bad, quote unquote, bad things weren't in fact bad things. But as it says here, you get what you are, not what you want. So when you see these delays coming up, ask yourself this: have you genuinely been good in consciousness? If you have, don't worry. Now, I know that's easier said than done. I absolutely get that. And I will obviously give you a couple of things to do to help you with that. But don't worry, because if your consciousness has been good, stay doing good in consciousness. And that will help you move through this silence, this gap, this delay, this momentary lack of pleasure from the reality, for want of a better term. And that'll help the subconscious mind then bring that in for you. But because we get what we are, not what we want, in this silence, in this gap, in this delay, you must stay being the person who has what you want. Because if you start to go, oh, it's all delayed, but I really, really want it, you're just feeding into that delay and claiming that it's a delay, claiming that you want what's on the other side, but it is currently not in your possession. And if it's not in your possession in consciousness, it stays not in your possession in reality, because consciousness creates reality and you get what you are, not what you want. So in this delay, stay doing the work. If the past thoughts and feelings have created today's reality, then today's thoughts and feelings will help create tomorrow's reality. So even if you're experiencing this delay, if you stay doing the work anyway, great, you will succeed still. Because your subconscious mind is playing that 4D chess that I mentioned. Now, what is this? Well, this is just a way that it helps me keep my head wrapped around things. I'm very much an analogy person. I like the idea of these little imageries of like manifestation being like a seed, and you want to water it and give it sunlight, but you don't want to overwater or over sunlight, meaning like overly obsess and so on. Or like, I like the idea of the supermassive black hole analogy, where the subconscious mind is so powerful that everything is as easy as everything else. Just the same way as the supermassive black hole at the middle of our galaxy is so massive, it makes the Earth and the sun look the same size, sort of thing. Meaning, in a manifestation sense, manifesting a high text is just as easy to the subconscious mind as manifesting a marriage with that person, because it is so massively powerful that everything else seems so massively insignificant. For example, I like these analogies, I like these little imageries to put on stuff. And this 4D chess is the one that I like the most for this sort of thing, because it's like a game of chess. I don't know if any of you have watched professional chess before, or even if you've just played with your friends who are roughly the same skill level as you. You can go 5 turns, 6 turns, 7 turns, sometimes even up to 10 turns without a piece being taken. And from an outsider's perspective, they're probably looking at it like, what? They're just moving stuff around. There's no like game plan. And then all of a sudden, one person will move their horse all the way over there and checkmate someone. If you're looking from the outside, you're like, well, I don't see what they're doing. Like, why have they moved that over there? Why have they sacrificed their queen there? And then when you realize by taking the queen, they then open up another slot, and then someone's bishop could take the king, and so on. Sometimes you just don't see it. You don't see the vision until that final move has been played. So think of manifestation, especially these moments when there's some silence and delays, like 4D chess. Your subconscious mind is playing chess against your reality. Yeah, you got a couple of quick wins. Maybe you took a couple of pawns at the beginning, and maybe you managed to sneak their horse, which was that really quick movement. But now it's the end game. Now it's trying to just checkmate the king and not get into a stalemate. Now we're trying to make some smart moves, so we're not just moving the king left, over and over for 10 turns when nothing happens, because the person chasing the king sucks at trying to trap them. That's where that silence comes in. But then all of a sudden, by staying consistent to your plan, to the game plan of this chess game, see where it's all coming together, the subconscious mind moves that final piece, the holiday, if we use the example from earlier on. Bad holiday, they come back one and you, everything else plays out how you wanted. But in the beginning, it was all silence. Sorry, in the sort of middle, it was all silence, it was all delays, because your subconscious mind was just moving those last little bits together to bring you what you want. Now, this is sometimes the case. Sometimes your manifestations may just come like that, no delay, no issues, and that's fine too. But that doesn't mean that this stuff doesn't exist. I've had moments in my own journeys where I've been doing exceptionally well and it seems like nothing has happened. But by staying consistent in it, everything floods in. And it always floods in so much better than you can ever imagine. If you can sort of brave this storm, obviously it's calmness, I suppose you could say, because it's a delay in silence, but let's imagine that this is a very, very ferocious storm. If you can brave this storm, the calm at the other end is always worth the journey. But what's the best way to do that? Well, in my opinion, I think that one of the best ways to help you move through these delays is to actually just pretend like they don't fucking exist and live your best life. Similar to, again, another analogy, if you buy a plane ticket to go on holiday, you kind of just have to wait until you get to the date to then go on holiday. Now, you could sit there in a dark room, rocking backwards and forwards, going, only a week, only 6 days, only 5 days, and just sit there bored out of your mind, counting down the moments, making it take forever, making it accentuated how much you want to get away. Or you can live your best life. You can tell everyone about it. You can go and buy your outfits for when you're on holiday. You can start planning what kind of activities you're going to do. You can start finishing work off so that you don't come back with loads of shit to do when you get back off holiday. There's two different ways you can take this waiting stage. You can actively wait, which is sitting in a dark room rocking, waiting for your desire to come in. Or you can passively wait, which is where you just get stuff done in the interim and really enjoy your life. And then before you know it, the time comes anyway. I recommend you passively wait. I recommend you really in this delay, or I suppose just at any point in the manifestation journey, but especially in this delay so you don't get too caught up in it, live your best life. Find a hobby, start hanging out with friends, start really just detaching and feeling as amazing as you can. Because remember, you get more of what you are, not what you want. So if you're feeling amazing, you get more things to help you feel amazing. And if you expect your desire to make you feel amazing, it comes under that category. So do good things in the day-to-day reality. Eat well so you feel nourished. Sleep well so you feel good. Hang out with friends so you get that communication and that sort of social time. Do hobbies so you can feel accomplished at something. Go work out so you can feel physically better and flood your body with dopamine and endorphins and so on and so forth. Do things in the day-to-day reality to help you in every capacity that you can. And what this will do, not only will it get you more good things because you get more of what you are, not what you want, but you'll be so preoccupied with other good stuff. It will stop you from focusing on the delay as much, stopping yourself from accidentally recreating more of it. 1 second, I need to let my cat in. But B, it will also help with the time between impression and actualization. Time flies when you're having fun, for example. So if you make the most of the time in between, you will just simply experience it sooner than if you were just sitting around waiting. So that's the first thing that I recommend, is to just really make the most of your life. If you are not making the most of your life, then you are doing yourself and your manifestation a disservice. But the second thing to consider is nervous system regulation. These delays, no one's ever going to want them. No one's ever going to enjoy them when it's something that you're working on. But someone with a dysregulated nervous system is going to have a much more difficult time staying calm and collected and keeping their ego quiet during these delays than someone who, with a regulated nervous system, heightened self-concept, and just trucking on with the work. So what I urge for you is to make a daily regulation practice. 10 minutes of manifestation of meditation can literally just be enough. But 10 minutes of a meditation, and then as you go through your day, if you find yourself getting a little bit like, or if there's just something's not quite right in your body, maybe you've got a pit of feeling in your stomach, maybe you just feel quite stressed or you're snappy at stuff, just take a couple of minutes out in those moments to just do some deep and deliberate breathing or EFT tapping or something like that. Because the more regulated you can keep your nervous system, the less of these random spikes that you'll get, which means the less investing in the things creating those spikes, which is these delays. So if you can live your best life and really make the most of each passing moment and keep yourself regulated outside of that, while ensuring that you stay thinking, feeling, and where applicable, acting from the end result as though you have what it is that you desire already, there is literally not a single stone that you have left unturned. And if consciousness creates reality, then you will get the reality that you want, even in spite of these delays. Now, of course, like I said, this sort of video is assuming you're doing the right stuff and got a delay. If you've been doing the wrong stuff and gotten a delay, then there's obviously different things that you'll want to look into. And I'll put an end card video here to explain that, or to take you to a video if you've got all the way to here and gone, yeah, but I've kind of just fallen apart for the last 2 weeks. So that's where the delays have come from. That's not necessarily a different approach. You can definitely do this, but I think you may just like a little bit of a different video with some more explanations of stuff to help you through those. But if you've been doing really well and you're looking at it like, why is this happen? Why have I got this delay? This here explains why, but it also explains what you can do about it. So if you have enjoyed this video, do be sure to drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you need any one-to-one help to overcome the guesswork of manifestation and trying to piece together general bits of content from different coaches, I do have one-to-one services available where I can help tailor advice to your specific situation. No scripts, no trying to force you through a funnel. Whatever you need, I'm here to help you get. But if you're not looking for one-on-one coaching, but you do want more from me, I do have the self-study courses. Well, they're not self-study, they're just courses that will give you all the information. You can kind of just take it on your own from there. You can gain the courses individually, or you can access them all on my academy. And the academy also has all of my members-only videos, all of the courses, sign-up bonuses, coaching with me, and the lot. So go sign up for the academy. It's the best financial decision you can ever make, and it's the best manifestation decision you can ever make. But for now, thank you very much for being here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.